Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Glad to be here. Thanks
Mark,
for having
do we
me.
have a special offer for our listeners?
You sure do. You go to VRTrader.com, VR Victor Robert, VRTrader.com, and we offer 50% off using the promo code 2021 half off, 2021 half off, or any of the newsletters or any time frame you specify when you go to the home page. So 2021 half off, we're 50% off.
Now, usually when we talk about unstable governments where geopolitics can be a major affair, maybe Argentina or Cyprus or Turkey defaulting on debts and so on. Now we're talking the U.S. How serious is this debt ceiling thing, and should the markets be worried about it?
Well, you know, you can never say never. The U.S. dollar is the best horse, or the last horse in the glue factory, as the expression goes. But we've been through this before, so I don't want to sound overly optimistic or pessimistic. We seem to always have this type of crisis with debt, or one thing or another, for the last 40 plus years that I've been tracking the market. So, the bottom line is, we may overcome it. It may be another Band-Aid. There's a lot of talk about the currency going digital, in terms of crypto type thing, whether that's going to make any difference or not. You just never know. Out of the blue, like we saw the new technology unfold with the dot-coms, at the end of the last century, all of a sudden some new technology reveals itself and economy booms. Suddenly there's more money around than anybody imagined, and the debt is, not as much of an issue because of the ability to pay it off that didn't exist before. So, all kinds of stuff can happen. Like I say, for decades, there's always a reason to believe the end is coming. There's a lot of negative stuff we could talk about. Even for myself, I say, gee, well, if the market went to hell, how can I make a living or do anything? I may have to go work for the post office, right? But for some reason, the market's always there. And somehow we always seem to pull ourselves out of it one way or another. Even the communist China, turns out they're a bunch of capitalists, though there's been some question recently about some of the stuff they've been doing. But, apparently everybody still wants to make money, and they figure things out. So anyway, you're just asking me a hypothetical question. I'm sure they'll figure it out. They have to at some point. The bills that have to be paid, and the government has the ability to turn on the computer and print money electronically into oblivion. Hopefully that doesn't go to oblivion, but they have the ability to continue to print money. So it's one way or another, I guess we'll work our way out of it. But our bottom line is, how do we profit and survive in the environment? Do you have to be long or short the market? What sectors do you have to be in? What hedges do you have to take? Do you have to own real estate and gold, or can you just own stocks? But I would say owning bonds is probably the last thing, particularly government bonds, the last thing you want to own, because governments can and do go bankrupt. Over history, that's been the case, whether the U.S. is that or not. At least if you own corporate bonds, at least you have some claim of assets of the underlying company in the case of, a solvency situation. So, outside of that, that's sort of where I'm at. Let's just wait and watch, and we'll try to deal with the situation as best it unfolds. But I don't know. I think if things were going to go to zero, the stock market would be telling you that. Let's see if it holds up here or it starts breaking again to new relative lows and we have more of a crash type scenario. I mean, if you start to get stuff like that, then there is something more to worry about. But at the same time, you can make money as the market goes down. So let's take it a day at a time.
Well, right now, the U.S. government's position is they have to take out another credit card to pay off their old credit card. New debt to pay off old debt.
And that's been the case forever.
Forever.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if you turn the clock back 30, 40 years, and you probably hear the same discussion, with a different number, a smaller number. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, there used to be a time governments borrowed from themselves to finance projects. Canada did that up until the 70s. I think Montana might be a state that does that, or North Dakota, one of those states there just below the Canadian border. Why can't all governments do that? Just be self-financing. Why do you have to borrow money from commercial banks in the first place?
Or tax the hell out of its citizens at the same time. So.
Right. Why not just print the money to pay your bills and not tax?
Well, there's that talk about the $1 trillion coin. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes, I did.
Recent years. Yeah, they create a coin. They just produce it electronically or physically and say, hey, we got $1 trillion coin here. We got a couple of them. Let's just pay off the debt with these coins, and it's all over. So, it's tough worrying about, you shouldn't say you shouldn't worry about it, but, what are you going to do?
I think Austria printed giant coins like that back in the 1800s to pay off debt. So it's been done historically. And U.S. legislation apparently says you can't use gold or silver, so that's why they're talking about a platinum coin.
Right. May happen. So
in the real world, energy prices still going crazy in Europe. They don't have enough truck drivers in Britain to deliver gasoline. The rest of Europe is suffering from a natural gas shortage because their windmills stopped working from a lack of wind. Now Russia says they'll turn on the gas taps, but is Russia a stable or reliable supplier of anything?
Well, on the charts, we're still in a bull phase in the crude oil, but we got a little overextended here. The way I'm reading the charts, it looks like you need to have a bit of a retracement, maybe just a trading comment. But we've talked about this before, Jim. What's the big picture trend? There's shortages, and production has been curtailed. For example, like the Keystone Pipeline situation, where that project was shut down, and suddenly we have all these shortages everywhere, and greater demand, and prices can still go even higher. So I talked about $100 crude oil, and I could even see $200-$300 if you want to take a 10-year or 5-year perspective. Anything's possible in a short squeeze. I mean, look what happened when crude oil dropped to minus $40 during the crisis last year, and the COVID crisis. The impossible happened. The impossible happened. How could crude oil go to minus $43? It's impossible, but yet it did. Someone had to pay someone to get them out of the contract because they couldn't deliver it.
Yes, do politicians realize the more you attack oil and gas production, the higher you're going to drive prices, which makes getting into the oil and gas business even more attractive?
So the opposite could happen. You could see an explosion to the upside as an offset to the panic that occurred back in the first quarter of 2020. I have this rule that I use called the 100-point rule. Things tend to, move in that direction on occasion. So 100 points up from minus $43 is what? It's 143. That's probably a good target for crude oil at some near-term point here. That would surprise not me, but I would surprise some of the the bears out there. Don't think it can go up. So anyway, little extended here on a trading basis, but nothing has said the trend is over to the upside.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, Bitcoin has skyrocketed over the last few days. What's the story there?
Not only that, some individual speculative coins have done very well. There's one coin named after it is the Shiba Inu coin. It's actually a token. Shiba Inu, of course, is the dog that has been pictured on the Dogecoin, affectionately known as the doggy coin that Elon Musk was talking about. And he particularly highlighted on that Saturday Night Live television program a few months ago that everybody was watching, millions of people watching him talk about the Dogecoin. But if you look at pictures of it, you got the Shiba Inu dog pictured literally all over the internet. Millions of people are involved in this in terms of playing it and trading it. So this token was created, the Shiba Inu token, and this little thing, is, I don't even know how to give you a price of it. It's so less than a penny. I think there's 10 zeros in front of it. But the thing has moved up this past week about 300 or 400%, and has made millionaires out of a lot of people, young people mostly, who are on their cell phones or whatever. And it took off. It's pulled back here a little bit, but you got, I guess you can call it the Robin Hood or the meme type traders must be behind it, but maybe others players as well. But I think, Elon Musk is somehow behind it as well. And he just bought himself a Shiba Inu dog, and they put it up on the internet. He was showing his new dog. Even think of what's going on. It's it's a cartoon. It's really wild what's happening. In my career, I've seen a lot of wild things. I'm sure you've seen a lot more being a commentator. But this dog, who's actually adorable, I'm actually thinking maybe I should buy a Shiba Inu. They're Japanese dog. That's where the ancestry comes from. It became the basis of now two type of coins that is affecting, tremendous amount of investment and trading. But you'd asked about Bitcoin and Ethereum. These are sort of the leaders of the pack. And they're still well off their highs, but not well off, but they're certainly, off, and they certainly are within striking distance. And I remain a bull. I think they could double from where they are or triple, and I can't give you a time frame, and I can't say there can't be another shakeout like we saw a few months ago or the last year or two. The history of Bitcoin has been extremely volatile, but apparently if you buy the big pullbacks, and there's always the threat out there that the government's going to stop it and whatnot. There are those who believe that Bitcoin is more powerful than China or the U.S. government, that trades outside the system. A lot of money is behind it. It's a protection against government. That's why it was sort of created. You don't trust currency. You don't trust, what's going on in terms of the safety of your money, but you got an electronic coin that nobody can touch or take away from you. And, it was created for a reason. So there's 7,000 coins out there now. So this is not just a flash in the pan, Jim. This is a major trend, and the younger generation is behind it. And probably the big boys are too, but they may be bad-mouthing it just so they could buy it themselves. Again, you got to just like we take some. We traded a lot of Ethereum and Bitcoin this past week at our VR Trader Platinum service. We did the ETFs, and we do a little bit on our blockchain letter, and it's definitely an asset class. It's like owning gold and real estate and anything else. It's something you got to be involved in. I remember like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, somebody that I read, some portfolio managers were saying you got to have like an asset allocation of like 5% in your portfolio in crypto, and the reaction was, oh, you got to be kidding. It was laughable. It turned out if you did that, you made a heck of a lot of money, particularly if you diversified among a bunch of them. Some of these things, as I just mentioned, with the Shiba Inu token that traded this past week up, you're talking hundreds and hundreds or thousands of percent gains. You're not talking, 5 or 10%. So if you're in a few of these, even if they're a hedge on your portfolio, they certainly could help you. And if they go down, they're only a small portion of it, but the upside versus the downside. So it takes a little bit of homework. You have to have your ear to where the action is. You gotta be on top of Twitter and the chat rooms that are on the internet, and just get a sense of where the interest lies and which coins are there. And if not, you just stick with the big names. So it's like the Ethereum and the Bitcoin. So I'm a little long-winded, but I'm a bull overall.
The Shiba Inu took 14 months to hit a market value of $12 billion, moving it into the ranks of the world's top 20 cryptos. So, yeah, out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And, the image of the little dog is so cute. And I laugh every time I see it. I'm a big dog lover, as you know. And I just see like those cute little pictures all over the internet of the first it was in the doggy coin or the Doge coin. I keep calling it doggy coin, but Dogecoin was the name. Now you see Shiba Inu, and I think I just saw today another coin that's out there. I'm not saying it was created today. I think it was something like Teeny Shiba Inu or some name like that. I got to go check it. In other words, another one was created that's trading at a fraction of where the Shiba Inu coin is trading. But what you have to think about is that these may be used in commerce. It's just not a coin that trades for the sake of coins. I mean, many, like the Dogecoin, I got a little article yesterday, some of the top franchises in the U.S. were starting, there was a story they were looking to accept that as a form of payment. And the Shiba Inu, there's some story about that also being a form of payment and having some higher other benefit to it. I have a little paragraph I'm going to put in my newsletter on that. I don't have time to read it, but there's a benefit beyond the fact that it's just a coin, the way it was created and the way it's transferred and so forth. And there's always like a new angle being created for some of these coins in terms of, their commercial applicability and or their safety or transferability and on and on and on. I guess it's just the creation of the blockchain geniuses that put this stuff together, what they come up with next. So anyway, definitely a funny story. Okay.
Mark, a lot of people don't want to risk real money for what they still consider invisible fairy money and so on, but is there a way to get involved in cryptos and not risk your bank account?
Just by keeping the investment small, diversification. You could be in there buying crypto for, I don't know what the minimum is in some of these accounts. I know they have maximums. So I guess we'd have to check each platform. It could be a couple $100 or, some minimum amount to get started. And it's definitely something everyone should at least take a look at because it's an emerging trend. When .com first came along, or any new innovation, it was generally, laughed at, or it was considered, there were a lot of skeptics about what it would be or what it would do. Certainly cannabis stocks that I had been involved with, from 2014 to date when I first mentioned it at a conference, the audience was laughing. I saw volume coming into some of these cheap penny cannabis stocks, and they thought that I was crazy. Next thing, it becomes one of the biggest businesses in Canada, and tons of money is being raised and ultimately, coming into the U.S. So, things that seem emerging or crazy, I mean, we may find out that crypto coins are the thing to be in forever. I mean, for whatever reason, maybe it'll be the only way we'll be able to transact business at some point. So, or maybe, like I said earlier, maybe the faith in currency or your bank account is so compromised that the coin is the only way you feel safe doing business because it's electronic and it's encrypted and no one can really get to it but you with the various wallets. There's safety mechanisms that have been created to store your coins. You can't say that for many other assets. I mean, so and it's real interesting. I don't understand it all. I mean, you may think I'm an expert, but by no stretch am I an expert. I guess I was a blockchain programmer and I created a coin and so forth and so on. But I'm just sort of following the trend, and I'm convinced the big money is in it. I know the institutions are in it, the big hedge funds and so forth. my sources have been taking positions in this for quite some time. So it's fun, and I guess we're all saying, what's the next thing? What's next after Bitcoin, or after? I keep saying Bitcoin. It's after crypto because Bitcoin is just one coin. But what's next? Is it just more coins, or is there going to be another technological innovation of some kind? It's fun. It's really crazy. What's more fun and exciting, just from a personal point of view, is watching some young people who don't have much money making a lot of money. There's one case that I know of, a young man in college who had, very small amount of money, a few $100s, and literally made hundreds of thousands of dollars, not only paid for his college, but got a lot of his friends involved. And by buying some of these coins and watching the astronomical gains that some of these things have generated in the last several months or last couple of years. So just from a capitalistic point of view, a lot of kids are worrying, where's their next job? How are they going to make money? And some of these, just as a passive effort, have made a tremendous returns. There's one situation I know personally. I mean, I wish I had followed him in when he bought his coin, and it wasn't a lot of money on the table either. It wasn't like he invested a lot of money. Suddenly, he just pyramided to a point where it was almost disbelief on the part of everyone involved. So that's going to attract a lot more attention to this sector.
Mark, you also mentioned something off air about how you could actually get into cryptos for free.
Yes, if you go to some of the platforms, one in particular is Coinbase, and there's actually a little section on the we have it on your phone. I guess you can have it on the internet as on your desktop computer as well, where you actually just watch videos and learn about some new coins, and they give you coins for nothing. And you have to just pull it over. And I looked at it today, and there's like a whole list of about 7 or 8 videos or little courses you take or little stuff you have to read. And by doing it, you're awarded a free coin or two. And I actually have another friend of mine who for several years has been doing exactly that, who has told me that, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been just watching these videos, and it's apparently the Coinbase is just one place that this occurs. So I don't want to say that's the only place. Coinbase is a public company, ticker symbol COIN, trading around $250 a share. So that's a good surrogate. That's a whole other thing is this company makes money buy or sell. So they're in the business of brokering this stuff. So that's another way of playing the crypto industry without actually, buying the coin. Just buy the stock of the company that brokers them. But anyway, if you go to that particular company or website, you can get free coins. So check it out. Go to Coinbase, and I have to do some searching of some others. But this friend of mine, like I said, he said he built up a nice portfolio because they gave him a lot of coins that were worthless at the time. And with what's happened in the crypto market, they've appreciated. And he's got a serious amount of money now in free cryptos. So I would say if you get some stuff for nothing and you can learn something in the same time, why not do it?
Mark, thank you so much for chatting with us.
It's my pleasure.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as vrtrader.com. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com, and we'll ask that question for you. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.